see, that's why we love NBA stars. That's why we love the football, soccer stars, because they are able to do those things which there's something in us that is dying to want to accomplish them, right? But we are being held back for a number of reasons. So that's why we see them as stars. Hi, I'm Emmanuel. I was born in Yaoundé, which is the capital city of Cameroon, which is often referred to as Africa in miniature. And as far back as I can remember, I've always been extremely introverted. Or I better call right now I refer to myself more as a situational introvert or situational extrovert. But more especially, I was born left-handed. And from where I come from, if you were born left-handed, that was just frowned upon. You're looked upon as a curse, as out of this world, outlandish, and every effort had to be made as soon as possible to change from a left-handed person to a right-handed person. So evidence of my left-handedness evidently came from when I went to school and I had to start writing, right? So my teachers often frowned upon it. Yeah, so I remember heading back home from school was a nightmare because the thought of having that hand tied behind my head, my back, and I was being scolded upon. I had these writing drills. I'll do them over and over for hours on end, and I tell you, it was so painful. But flash forward, I was able to pull through this, and guess what? My uppercase N was always inverted, you know. I remember back then at kindergarten and the early days of school, it was always an embarrassing moment, you know. And another thing that happened along the line was that the way I held my pen, all right, my pencil was a very weird way, as they described it at school. I was always the subject of public ridicule in class, you know. Every teacher would come and they'll be like, Emmanuel, why are you holding your pen like that, you know? So in effect, I was often the subject of public ridicule in class, you know, and every teacher that came in as I went up from first grade upwards had to always change the position of my, you know, how I held my pen and my pencil. And until I came up to this form of handling the pen, which was really so awkward, and each move they made the handwriting and the holding of the pen even more awkward than the previous one. So in fact, growing up then, I had developed this mindset that I was probably some kind of incomplete person, incomplete child, and I had to have been right-handed like everybody else. But you see, something happened when I started engaging in sports. I realized that being left-handed, because I need to tell you this, although I started writing with my right hand, I still maintained doing some other things with my left hand, and sports was one of them, basketball, and it became a real advantage. So even though, you know, that process of changing from left hand to right hand and all of that, the public ridiculing in class by class teachers and everything, it had played a lot on my self-confidence and my assertiveness as a person. And I just realized then, as I was telling you on the basketball pitch, that being left-handed was a great advantage. And that's how I began to learn. And the more I used to learn now, I learned more even about how great persons had accomplished great works and being left-handed, you know, a lot of his personalities. And then that boosted up my self-confidence as a person. And I began to see that left-handedness as actually a superpower. So in effect, I took pride in my left hand, and it wasn't embarrassing anymore. So I know if you're watching up to this point, you're probably asking yourself, what's the connection between being left-handed and why I decided to get Locs, right? And what's the real connection here? In fact, what I'm trying to drive and what I'm trying to say is that if anything, I didn't choose to be left-handed, okay? I don't know why it happened like that. And you see, it's the same journey. Growing Freeform Locs really is just that it's an effortless process, right? And it just flows out of this desire of being and staying unique as a person. Right? I'm talking about being unique. being you, okay, asserting and accepting yourself fully the way you are. So if you're asking me why I decided to get Locs and why am I tying it down to this story of this left-handed schoolboy, is because I simply want to express my uniqueness. You see, I've come to learn that when people see that unique style in someone else, it reminds them of a side of themselves that is still untapped, right? For a number of reasons. Okay, when they see that style, that thing, those locks or those freeform locks especially, it's unique in themselves, and there's no two persons actually who have the same kind of freeform locks, right? And it's sort of that kind of dark fantasy, okay, which lies in the dusty basement of their desires, which for some reason or not, they were not able to express. You see, that's why we love NBA stars. That's why we love the football, soccer stars, because they're able to do those things which there's something in us that is dying to want to accomplish them, right? But we are being held back for a number of reasons. So that's why we see them as stars. In effect, these stars literally express outwardly what we bury inside of us, right? And that's why we're like, wow, you know, because we can easily resonate with what he just did. So I'm asking you, you don't want to die with the music that's in you, okay? You want to live and you want to be like, you want to express fully what you have inside of you. So I'm asking, what is your music? Mine is actually the vibe that goes along the expression of freeform locks and what they represent actually, right? Freedom, exuberance, effortlessness, minimalism, you know, nature and nurture. So freeform locks are unique to each one, and the pattern actually differs, you know, from person to person. There's really no one who really has the same kind of locks. So right now I'm 37, and all I want to do is just live every single day with the fullest expression of my being, okay, which is based on values of freedom, effortlessness, uniqueness, okay, and non-conventionalism, if I may put it that way, okay. And freeform locks is one of the vehicles that carries all of these values in them, you know, apart from just being a fashion or a style, okay. It's much more about a value system. So if you really enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you hit on that like button, and even more, hit on the subscribe button, so that you won't be able to miss on any other new video that I post. In fact, when you hit on the subscribe button, it's important that you hit on the bell that is beside it. That way you'll be notified every single time I post a new video. So I want you to have a fantastic day.